Hi! Within this section, we're going to build our own keylogger, and for a change, we're going to do that within Windows. Okay, we have to know how to run Python codes in Windows as well, because we're going to compile and build exe files for Windows later on, so that we have to work specifically within Windows sometimes. So I have just created a new Windows virtual machine because on my original one I had Anaconda, so I can run Python codes without any further tool, but it's not the case for you. So for a more real scenario, I have created this new virtual machine. You don't have to do that. You can just go on with your own existing Windows virtual machine. So if you try to run Python command in your CMD right now, it won't work because you don't have Python installed in your own virtual machine. So I'm going to install the Python and also a Sublime text editor in order to write Python code. Of course, we could have just written this keylogger in our Kali Linux machine in PyCharm as well, and then emailed it to the Windows and tested in here, but we don't want that because we want to learn how to write Python code inside virtual machines, inside a virtual Windows machine as well. So I'm going to go over google.com once again, and I'm going to search for Sublime Text, and at this point you know how to download and install Sublime Text because we did it before. But I'm going to show you anyway because we have installed it on our host machines before, and maybe you installed it on your own Mac, but you're going to do it for Windows this time, so you have to download it. I have already downloaded it in order not to make you wait in here. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to do this very fast since we did it before, and it's nothing really much to do here. So I'm going to click yes and next, and it will install the Sublime Text for me. It's a small script editor. Actually, it will install instantly, and then we can search here for Sublime Text 3 and then just run it. When you run it, it will pop open a clear coding section for you, but as you can see, this is very small right now. Remember, you have to go to settings to change this font size and everything. So go over here and find the settings, and as you can see, we can see the font size in the left pane, and remember we have to copy the settings that we want to change and paste in the right pane, and it has to be pasted in this curly braces. Now I'm going to change this to be 28, and it's a good font size for me. You can choose your own font size. Now I'm going to just print hello world because it's going to be a real simple example. Okay, so let me run hello world in here, or hello, and I'm going to save this as a Python file. So I'm going to place this in desktop. I'm going to call this hello.py. So now Sublime knows that this is a Python code and it's colored according to the Python convention. Now next thing to do, we have to find a way to run this py file. Okay, we have written our Python code, but we don't have any tool to run this other than Sublime Text IDE's own builder, own compiler. But we have to run this through CMD, and if you click on this, as you can see, it asks what you want to open this with. And we have to install Python from the Python official website. You know, if I just select Sublime Text, it will just pop open this, but it won't compile or run the file as I want it to be. So let me go to the browser and let me show you how to install Python 2 and Python 3 in your computer in order to run this Python codes. So let me go back once more in here. Now we are done with the Sublime Text. Let me go to google.com and we have to search for Python 3.7 or 3.8, it doesn't matter, 3.7 Windows download. You have to search for Python Windows download actually. It will show you the results. So let me zoom in a little bit. You have to go to python.org/downloads. If you go to python.org/downloads, you will find it on your own anyway. But if you want, you can just Google it once more. You can say Python 2.7 Windows download as well. We have to download two versions because we can try whether they are compatible with each other, whether they are compatible with Python 2, Python 3 separately. Okay, so if you go to Python 3.7 here, you will find the release date, you will find the notes regarding to the current version, but what we are looking for is the download section, and it's generally located at the bottom of the page where you can find different versions to install. So let me scroll down a little bit and search for the files. So these are notes and these are resources and some instructions for Windows and Mac OS users. What we want is these files here. And as you can see, we have different files for different operating systems. And we have some kind of versions like embeddable zip file, executable installer, and web-based installer. It generally is better to go with the executable installer because you're going to download this exe once and then try to just install it on this single file. Okay, so I have downloaded this, so I'm not going to download it again, and I'm going to search for the same thing in Python 2.7. And if you go over here and see the files, it's a little bit different, but in the end they are the same thing. This is called MSI installer, so it's good. I'm going to save this as well. One is exe and the other one is MSI, but they do the same thing actually, so it really doesn't matter the executable or MSI version as long as you find the related 2.7 and 3.7 versions, then it won't be a problem. Okay, so since I have already downloaded this in order not to make you wait, I'm going to close all of this. I'm going to install 2.7 first and then 3.7. So I'm going to click on next. Okay, in here we can choose where we are going to save this, and I'm going to save it under C. So I'm going to say yes and next. And it will just finish the installation for me. And then later on I'm going to do the same thing for 3.7. Now it's going to ask me whether I really want to install. Yes, I will say yes, and then it will start installing and finish the process for me. Later on, when we install all of this, we're going to just go over and explore the directories. Okay, so now they are finished. Let me try to locate them. So I believe the 2.7 version was just installed under C, and I'm right, so it's installed here. We can easily find the python.exe under Python 2.7. So I'm going to need this file actually. I'm going to use this file to just run the Python codes. I'm going to search for Python 3. As you can see, I cannot see it under C. So I believe this is under C users. Okay, so C users app data, and best way to get is actually just click properties in here and you can just get the whole path. And in fact, let me get this path, let me get this location, okay, and copy it and paste it under some text here. So let me create a new text and call it Python, okay, because we're going to need those paths later on. So let me copy everything in here, okay, with Control C or just clicking right on your mouse and then clicking paste in here. Of course, I have to add this backslash and the file name in here as well. So this is python.exe. So this is for Python 3.7. I'm going to do the same thing for 2.7 as well. This is much more simpler, but let me just copy it anyway. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and paste it in here and do the backslash thing with python.exe once more. So I'm going to use these paths really often, so it's actually better to have this on my desktop in here. So let me open my CMD, my command prompt, and I'm going to use those files to run hello.py. And if it succeeds, it means that I can run Python files right now. So let me go to CD desktop, and if I say dir, now I can see the hello.py. So you have to be in the same directory as hello.py to make this run. So let me first try with Python 3 or Python 2, it really doesn't matter since we have a very simple code. Let me try this with Python 2 first. Let me paste this here with Control V, and it doesn't work. Maybe I couldn't get this, so let me try this once more with Control C, Control V. Now I managed to paste it. Then I'm going to add a space and then say hello.py, the file name in here. So it means that use python.exe to run this. As you can see, we managed to run this hello.py. Let me try this with Python 3 as well and make sure that it runs here as well. And python.py, no, hello.py, okay, and it runs also. So we are now capable of running Python 2 and Python 3 in our virtual Windows machine. And these softwares are actually called Python interpreters. So it means that we're interpreting, we're building and compiling this code that we have written. Now we can actually run our own keylogger in Windows and test it in Windows as well. So let's stop here, and within the next lecture we're going to start writing our keylogger code.